I left in the middle of the night, around 12. His parents actually came to pick me up from all the way from Georgia. And so I, over time, before that night even came, I was preparing. So like I rented a storage unit, and I was putting like my stuff in there little by little until the night. And we got everything. I jumped out the window that night. I jumped out the window, and wow. I still have the scar to prove it. I jumped out the window, and we was off to Georgia.
Took me for the little guy. Go against giants, I was petrified. Try to shut me out till I dig inside. Fate always works, so I close my eyes. Trust in the process, going for the top, so I'm ready for the conquest. The bigger they are, the greater they fall in a contest. Small steps is better than no progress. Hey, envision my vision, they can't envision it. Knew I was special, I know deep down that I was different. Trust in the plans, yeah, I had to be more considerate. Trampling my enemies, the top is where I'm heading in. All my problems, yeah, I had to shake it off. When I put my mind to it, even God's fall. Made it through the darkest valley, though I had to crawl. Now I'm heading to the top, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, that's what I'm standing on.
Shalom, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Yah's Chosen Podcast. I'm Bawaahamath.
I'm Azrael Ben Israel.
And we got a good show for you today. We got a special guest, Sister Kayla.
Hello.
Sister, how you doing?
I'm well, and you?
All right. Now, I know my brother's known you a little bit longer than I have, but we just want to kind of, get you to share your story, how you came into this truth. So I'm going to first ask you, where are you from originally? Like, what state were you born in?
I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay.
Then my mother married, and then we moved to Mississippi. And so I lived in Natchez, Mississippi for about most of my life now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Deep
tell
South.
me, how was it really growing in Mississippi? I mean, I've been through Mississippi, but I heard a lot of bad stuff about Mississippi.
Yeah. It's Mississippi.
Okay.
There could be some racism. And to be honest, I've lived in like the rural parts.
Okay.
So, and that's the thing about Mississippi. There's not a lot of city around. And so, but I will say the best parts that I have experienced is just the freshness that the trees do give out. And just the community.
So you focus on the positive part.
Yeah, the positive parts. I had to.
But you did experience some racism? Not.
I haven't, but my parents have.
They all.
Yeah,
okay.
so I would say they have shielded us from that.
Okay.
Yeah, they kept us safe.
Okay. And then, so as growing up, were you grew up as a Christian? Did you have any kind of religious background?
So my family, we grew up as Christians. I would say non-denominational.
Okay.
Non-denominational.
Okay.
So can you speak in tongues?
No.
You never did?
I can't. No. It's quite hilarious because our pastor at the time, they were trying to get people to actually speak tongues. And so, they would have us come up to the pulpit, he would pray over us and everything. And I forgot what he did exactly, but we were supposed to stand there and do something, but I was so uncomfortable just standing up there. But yeah.
Yeah, that he never did, but I did. But I just kind of did it to appease them. I knew, I would do it, and I was like, something not right here.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. Right.
I had to. This one lady pastor had me try to say, "Fa la da," try to get to say it.
Yeah.
And again, I was saying it in the church because everybody else was, like playing along. I don't know. But sister, let me ask you. So, did you leave Christianity? You left Christianity, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and can you give us a little background on that?
Well, it was a little difficult because, growing up in something, you want to know, like, okay, this has been right my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would I want to go away from it?
Mm-hmm.
But when you start to feel like a pull, you know, sometimes you happen to go towards the pull, and sometimes you have to follow it, especially if it is, you know, the Most High will for you to do that. And so, it was quite hard for me, especially as a child who experienced anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I always went to the Most High for those troubles, especially back in high school. And I was like, so is this, you know, is this God the same as this God? Is the God of, you know, the Hebrew Bible the same as the same God that's talked about in church? And I was like, this don't seem right.
Right,
so,
right,
you know,
But you did feel a connection to God early in that age. Okay.
And it got a little bit stronger when I did leave Christianity. Okay. Especially when I started following the commandments. Because, you know, they don't really teach the commandments. They may teach those two, just those two, but what about the others? And so when that happened, I really started to open my eyes and like, wow, everything I've been taught about, just everything is a lie. And just from then, just from knowing and seeing how, okay, Christianity isn't this, what about everything else? And so from then I was like, okay, I need to examine everything through the spiritual lens.
So can I ask you, what you're saying, that what actually led you on that path? Was it a video? You saw a book, YouTube? I mean,
it was actually Pinterest.
Pinterest?
It was Pinterest.
Okay.
So I was on Pinterest one day, and I will always see like these pins of our people in chains, and like with the Bible verses. And I just thought about it. I was like, and you know, I'm an inquisitive person, so I would like to look into things. And so I believe it was in the Deuteronomy chapter about the curses and then the blessings.
Right,
and so
right.
I went and I read upon that, and I was like, who else could this be speaking about? You know, not a lot of people experience these curses, just like our community, you know, the Black community, the African American community. And, you know, we're always down. We're always down in some shape or form. And you don't see a lot of success. And from then on, I was like, okay. But I didn't truly like take it into heart then. Okay. You know, it took a little bit more looking into things.
So you did your studying.
Yeah, I had to study a little bit, especially since, you know, back in those days, everyone was like, the Egyptians are Black. And, you know, and it's like, okay, the Egyptians are Black, but what about the Israelites? And so from then on, you know, the connection. And then that's when I really started looking into everything. So that connected the bridge.
Wow.
Pinterest.
Yeah, and it was a video for me.
Yeah.
After already finding out about Illuminati and all that type of stuff, but it was just a video on YouTube, and that did it. So, sister, with your journey that you started following, how did your family and friends react?
It all started with me just throwing little tidbits in there, like at home, like, why do we do this? Or why do we do that? Like, doesn't the Bible say to do this and that? And like, my mom and me will always have arguments about, you know, what is correct and, you know, what's not. And we will always have them. And I didn't want to, you know, buck up against my mom, you know, honor your mother, honor your father. But it was like, this seems right. This feels right. And I felt like that's something I had to do. So
when you were asking the questions, were you already completely in it, or you were still learning?
I was still kind of learning. Because at that point in time, I wasn't really wearing fringes at the time. I was a little bit hypocritical, I will admit. but I believe we all start out that way,
Right.
So, but everything is a learning experience. And so, it's even funnier because now my mom would call me and my husband asking questions like, what does this say about this? Or what does this say about that? And it's hilarious because I'm like, okay, I planted a seed.
Right.
I started this way back then. And now here she is asking us about these certain questions. And it's making me think like, because, you would want your parents to know the truth. And I've been telling the truth. And, just not exactly then, but I did write it in a letter before I did leave. Like, we are the Israelites. We are the Bible. We are the children of the Bible.
Right.
And after that, I left. And that was just a turning point, really. I really don't really have many friends because, you want to be around like-minded people.
Right.
And so I didn't have a lot of like-minded people around the time. So it was really just me and the Most High.
The scripture kind of says that, you come against, father and mother, and a lot of them will not agree with what you, agree to. And in some families, it's rare. They may get a husband, wife, and whole family that comes into the truth. But a lot of times it's a solo journey. And there's a scripture that says that wide is the road that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to eternal life, and there are few that find it. So it's almost like a single journey that you just have. And if you get people along the way, all praises.
Right.
That's your new family. But you got to stay the course.
Exactly. And, it's hilarious, too, because one of my friends from high school, I introduced her to the truth. And, till this day, she is still learning for herself. She's on her own journey. And so I was like, that's amazing. Wow. And, she's, it's so hilarious because I would go on social media and see her under people's comments debating them about the truth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you. But it's amazing to see her her journey, her starting out. And so, and even then, my parents, them coming, and, it was always just a prayer of mine to the Most High, like, please introduce my parents to this truth. Please allow them to be saved.
My older sister, again, she went into the Messianic Jew, which is close. I'm still working on her. But like I said, it's close. And then my younger sister, she's not in the truth, but she respects what I believe. So I come to her house and I'm coming. Anytime she cooks for us, there's no pork. It's always clean food. And she said, I know you don't do this, and I know you don't do that. So that's a good thing. So like I said, it's a seed planted. I don't know where it's going to go. But all we can do is continue to do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And hopefully, they'll come to be converted. Yeah.
Right. So, sister, can I ask you, if you're from Mississippi, how did you find yourself in Georgia?
That's actually a long story. So I met my husband online.
Okay.
Right, and we wanted to be together after about maybe 3.5 years. And so I ran away from home.
Now was he Israelite?
Yes, he was Israelite. Yes, that is important. Yes, he was an Israelite. He was in it longer than I've been in. So it all was ordained by the Most High.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I'm here today.
All praises, all praises.
Yeah, all praises.
So, not if you don't want to get into it, but how did your parents kind of deal with it?
So, again, I left them a note specifying, why am I leaving? What's going to happen, ordained by the Most High in the Word, about the famines and everything that's coming, and I told them, be prepared. And that my main reason was wanting to better myself and be prepared for what is coming. And so let's just say my mom did not take it too well. Her baby just off in a world she doesn't know where. Because I left in the middle of the night around 12. His parents actually came to pick me up from all the way from Georgia. And so I over time, before that night even came, I was preparing. So like I rented a storage unit, and I was putting like my stuff in there little by little until the night. And we got everything. I jumped out the window that night.
You jumped out the window?
I jumped out the window.
Oh,
and
wow.
I still have the scar to prove it.
Okay.
I jumped out the window, and we was off to Georgia.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean, it was a decision I prayed and fasted about.
Okay.
And here I am. And though it has affected my family, they do respect it.
Okay.
And it is something that my mom and I'm not too sure about my father. He doesn't really share his feelings that well. But my mom, she has expressed, like, you know, you did hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was essentially scarred, you know, and I can imagine, you know. But like, I felt like I had to do what I had to do. And, you know, even though it is something that we laugh about today, it's something that hurt her. But she will admit that it has helped her grow spiritually and mentally. And I would say it has helped her on her own path.
So they accepted your husband, and now, even though it did hurt her, there is healing in the process.
There is healing.
All praises.
Yes. Yeah, all praises. Like it all, I would say it's worked out. So, yeah.
So do you have any sisters or brothers?
Yes, I have one sister and one brother.
And how have they responded? And are they thinking about the truth?
My brother, actually, he lives up in New Orleans now with our father.
Okay.
And so he would see, you know, IUIC out there out on the blocks, and he would say, like, "Hey, Kayla, I saw your people out there the other day." And I was like, "Well, have you asked them any questions? Did you go out there, you know?" It was like, no. But he knows about them. And, you know, it's quite hilarious that IUIC has really built up the reputation for the Israelites, and commendable to them. And so I don't think they really think about the truth as much. To be honest, we don't really speak as often either, because we have busy lives. But I am looking for ways to share more with them, especially when I do have the chance to go down there and visit them. I do, you know, put those little tidbits in again, you know, like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be doing that. You know, here's what you should be doing. But yeah.
Now, speaking of being busy, are you a music major in college?
Yes, I'm a music therapy major.
And senior.
I'll be graduating in December 2025, because I still have my internship. So
I know you play piano and guitar. Now, what other instruments can you play?
Yes, so it's piano, guitar, ukulele, accordion, drum set, recorder, and I think I'm missing one more. Harmonica.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the best thing? That you can sing.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, my voice.
She can sing like a songbird. She can sing. She can sing.
Well,
we ain't going to put you on the spot, sister.
If I have to, it's for the Lord. So, you know?
So out of all the instruments, which one do you kind of have your favorite? Which one is your favorite?
Oh, don't ask me that question. It's a little difficult.
Okay.
Since I started out with the piano, and then, you know, with music therapy, you mostly use guitars. So, you know, they're more portable around them, more than a piano is, right?
Right.
And so soon, I guess I'm in between guitar and piano.
Okay.
Since I've become so proficient in those instruments and being able to create like the different harmonies and melodies and like the distinct ones, it feeds my soul. hope I can describe that correctly. But
so when you say music therapy, that makes me think. So you're using this to help people kind of get through difficult times?
Yes.
Elaborate on that.
Yes. So music therapy is the clinical use of music in order to help a person achieve a specific goal that they would like to achieve. So right now I'm working with adults with developmental disabilities. I've worked with older adults, preschool children, children with intellectual disabilities. One population that I do really want to work with is just the adolescents, the teenagers, really, especially since, you know, the music that's in our community right now is not the best really for the soul. And, you know, they're still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to see, like, what am I supposed to be doing? You know, most of the times they're still trying to figure out themselves, like, what do I like to do? What am I going to do when I'm older? And, you know, sometimes they may not be receiving the love that they really need. And I was thinking of, and a few other of my colleagues, you know, music therapy isn't really a field dominated with, you know, people with our color. And so we were speaking, it was like, you know, music therapy will be really great for, you know, these teenagers, you know, like, how can we analyze these lyrics to see, like, what's going on in their brain? So, like, how can we help them process these feelings that they're feeling in a healthy way, to whereas it's not damaging them and their community? You see? And so, like, music therapy has such good uses. And, you know, you see that in the Bible, you know, with David and Saul. And, you know... And so, like, it's hilarious because last night I was looking at, you know, the different frequencies. And so I was looking at the frequency, it was 528. And I tuned my guitar to it. And I was like, man, this is a little difficult. And so, like, I was just playing the different strings on it. And I was like, this...
Okay.
I don't want to go too deep, but
now if we have you back on, can you play some for us?
Yeah, I don't mind. I would love to, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, right now I'm working with adults with developmental disabilities, and we help all populations. You know, we can help with gross motor skills, emotions, sociability, and just honestly all around quality of life. You know, just helping that person achieve what they need to achieve in order to be better.
I had never really heard of that, but I'm glad you enlightened us. So with this being kind of a medical community, do you think you'll be able to, once you graduate, kind of keep your skills here, or you have to maybe go to another city?
Honestly, that's a great question. For my internship, I'll be still in Milledgeville, and I'll be at the same facility where I am right now. But I do think I'd be able to stay here. Though I do heard there's not really a lot of opportunities for music therapy, really in a lot of places, especially down in the South. You know, it's still a very much new degree, so many people are still trying to know about it. And so, you know, there's not really a lot of job opportunities.
You could create your own and start your own business.
Yeah, I could. But if I do that, I may need to go back and get my master's. But I don't know. School is not for me. Let me just say that. But I would want to stay, I would say. I really do want to work in the school system. The school system, I primarily wanted to work in NICU. So the neonatal intensive care unit with the little babies.
The baby.
But you know, with all the regulations, especially now with COVID, and you know, you need to be updated with your shots. And so it's like, I think I have to give up on that for now.
We didn't think about that part of it. Right.
And so, you know, because I did want to work in the hospital. You know, I wanted to work with the pediatrics, but now just seeing how everything is going, I'm like, can I really even do this anymore?
Now, you say that, though, and I know a lot of people bashing 47. the president. But he's kind of like against making people do that. So it may not be such a bad thing for the next 4 years or so.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You know, because actually one of my internships that I wanted to be at, it was the Children's Hospital in New Orleans. And that was my top place because I was like, it's a hospital. It's the hometown. You know, I'd have somewhere to stay because, you know, with music therapy internships, you don't get paid throughout your internship. So you have to find somewhere to live and for 6 months, essentially. Yeah. And so, you know, one of the questions I was asking, because I saw it was a requirement, it's like, so, you know, I don't get vaccinations because of, you know, religious reasons. And it made me wonder because I didn't get that specific internship, of course, because it wasn't the one that the Most High had for me. But it made me wonder, like, maybe I didn't get this because I mentioned this, or, you know, and maybe they really wanted the applicant to have that. But I all know that it's all for the greater good. It wasn't meant for me to be there, of course. But it just made me wonder, you know, just have a little thought in mind.
Okay. So, sister, do you got any other thing you want to share with the audience of about yourself or about this journey that you're on and we're actually all on?
Yeah. Well, I would say just the biggest journey I have going on with myself as of now is really just battling, or more so balancing my school life with my home life. You know, being a wife, being a homemaker at home, and then going to school in Milledgeville every week and working with clients, you know, learning their specific music, because, you know, you only play client preferred music. You don't play your own music. And so, and then assessing the patient. What this patient need to work on to help them be better? And then treating that patient. And, you know, you get burnt out very quickly. And that's something I'm always telling my husband, like, you know, it's hard coming from school, then getting home, and, like, I just need a breath. Like, I just, you can ask them, I just sit there and stare at the wall for a few minutes. Like,
that's understandable.
Yeah, you know, having to readjust my mind, like, okay, I'm back at home. I need to do the laundry. I need to cook. I need to clean. I need to make sure my husband's okay. I need to take him to work. I need to do these different things. And then, I need to do my assessment. I need to turn in my assignments before the deadline on Friday. And it's, you know, so much. And it's like, I just need to keep myself on this path.
And balance it all in the process.
Balance it all.
Absolutely.
While maintaining my relationship with the Most High.
Right.
But it's going to be worth it, especially when you graduate and start getting a little easier. And I commend you, sister. We live in a day and age where you got a lot of young women and men that just don't value a lot. And you seem like, and from knowing you, definitely a virtuous woman.
Thank you so much.
According to Proverbs 31. And so that's commendable because, you know, a lot of our females or ladies, they don't dress properly. It's this stuff out there. So it's commendable that you were on this righteous path and you're basically doing the things according to the scriptures.
Right. And, you know, to add to that, like, I noticed, you know, but I recently got a haircut just to something new, because, you know, I've always had long hair and I wanted a difference. And, you know, my long hair wasn't always healthy as well. So I was like, okay, I think I need a haircut. And I noticed whenever I did wear like my head wrap, like now, I just always felt a little bit more, I don't know, beautiful. You know, it's like, I don't know. It was just something about a nice wrap, you know, and it really makes me wonder how another lady who maybe isn't in the truth would feel. Like, sister, maybe you should try wearing a hair wrap. Like, see how you feel.
It is.
You know, like.
I think it helps. I mean, it's beautiful to see our women out and with you know, the head coverings and dressing modestly. That's a beauty in itself.
Right.
It really is. And you feel different.
And I have one more question, sister. Now, we know all that you do. You've told us a lot. You told us your journey. But there's one thing we didn't get into. Your eating habits.
Oh, God.
So my sister are you a vegan or vegetarian? Which one is it?
I'm not vegan anymore. So I would say I'm a vegetarian.
Okay.
So speaking on that, so I was vegan for a while, especially I started back in high school actually, because I heard about the benefits of, eating healthy, eating for your body, the famous saying, you are what you eat.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to try this, especially since I always was so depressed and, full of anxiety. And I was, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out. And I just did it cold turkey.
Wow.
Cold turkey. I was like, okay, I need a change.
So can you tell our viewers what the difference between vegetarian and vegan?
Yeah, so vegan is when you don't consume any animal products. So that includes honey, eggs, milk, and dairy. Okay. Meanwhile, with vegetarian, you do consume those products. Okay. And so, I did the switch from vegan to vegetarian, mostly because I wasn't getting all the nutrients that I really needed, especially moving back to, back and forth. And, it's so expensive in America. It just has it that way to where healthy food is so expensive. Like, why is a salad more than a chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
Didn't you prepare the chicken sandwich more?
Yeah.
Like,
that's the way they got it. They got it against us.
Like, let's make it make sense here, And so, it was just a little bit easier, and especially with my husband, we still do incorporate fruits and veggies in our lives, and it just feels right. That's something we won't ever get away from, and so I still do make the vegan meals here and there. So like incorporating tofu as our protein, or chickpeas, black beans, lentils. And we usually just mostly eat those, but we still stay a little bit away from the meat. Mm-hmm. It's just the way things are right now. You have to adapt and change. So, yeah.
Well, brother, you got anything else? Sister, we sure appreciate you coming on. We hope everybody enjoyed having the sister on, and she might come back and play us a little song on her guitar, right? And sing. And we sure thank everybody. And if you got any questions about the sister, we're going to put a link in the chat. You can email her or email us, and we'll get in touch with her. But we appreciate everybody.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. All right. Shalom.
Trusting the plans, I had to be more considerate. Trampling my enemies, the top is where I'm heading in. All my problems, I had